was something we haven't seen yet. I'm just assuming, they go Yu Zhang because that's Yu Zhang and Terizla matchup we've seen so many times throughout the ISF groups, and they go Cho. Okay, so they go the Cho pick, which you're gonna put in the XP lane. What do you think? You think that's good? Do you think this is a good choice?
We did see the Cho yesterday, right? I believe Myanmar versus Thailand, rubydd actually did play the Cho in the XP.
Yeah.
So technically, we've already seen that before. He was also able to win, but that was against Thailand. And now against this composition, there's so much anti-CC, so many dashes. I guess the one member you can go for the pickoffs on would be the Nolan. Right now, with the Fracture also, no more, CC immunity, no more kind of built-in Purify with the Fracture. So technically, I see the idea. And especially now that the Cho has been buffed in a way where in the lane, he actually does a lot more damage. That passive has the physical defense shreds. It'll work towards the Roger as well later on in the game. And if you go for these pickoffs, and with the Jeet Kune Do, it allows you to go for the trades a bit more reliably now compared to before when it was a bit shorter. But I'm not a big fan of the Cho in the XP. I think you all know why.
Well, let's find out here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's game number 2. Match point for Indonesia to move forward and advance to qualifying for the WEC in Riyadh. All they need is this one win to move forward. Myanmar, can they extend the series to get to the 3 game? We're going to have to take a look at this exactly because, yeah, like we said, there's a whole lot of Purifies here to deal with a lot of the CC that Myanmar has available to them. And look at this, already early rotations happening here for Juno. But, one thing too, I'm not sure if anyone's going to get a kill with this early on with this lineup, but with rubydd running, like you said, this kind of new Cho, having that passive, I think it's like 180% is what you get with that bonus attack. But then you have a concussive blast. So I'm wondering how the lineup or how the matchup with even going against a Terizla performs in terms of like the numbers and being able to stay, or is it just purely I'm going to go and try to get some pickoffs, because right now they're just duking it out. And you can see Lutby also went with the Brave Smite. So once he goes with War Axe, most likely he'll be able to just kind of stay in the lane as long as he wants to. So on mid lane, still Albert trying to find early pickoffs, but I just don't think it's going to happen here until these level 4s, especially that Turtle still 30 seconds away. But look at this, Ken fighting for his own XP, and Albert will go ahead and just continue on with this.
I think, with Brave Smite, hold on. Down below, Lycan Pounce, Juno going to be caught in the spatial migration as well. Does have the Purify to get out, but the damage is certainly there. Juno will have to respect it by backing away. But back to the Brave Smite. So most Terizlas that we've seen, especially with the War Axe change, they go for the Impure Rage to get more mana, and then they just go and rely on the sustainability of the War Axe. So the fact that he's doubling down means he's ready for Myanmar's full-on team fight and the longer team fights. As Albert starts his turtle, Keyboy's hovering over, doesn't have that level 4 just yet, but has already been able to shove in that bottom lane, or that mid lane actually. Good Astral Echo, and that's giving the spatial migration. Albert with the Fracture, not even, actually, will be able to go for it. Now Penalty Zone locking him down with the Violent Requiem. Albert picking up the first blood as Zide will be forced to run away, but even then, the Retribution slows him down, gives Albert the movement speed to catch back up and to take him out. A 2-0 start for Indonesia.
Man, this is what I was saying even yesterday, Mirko. Like, once Albert gets snowballing on any of the assassins that he picks up, he's going to continue to just be very aggressive. So you got to be, if you're Myanmar, you got to be able to answer this. And that might just be also protecting Ken a little bit more, because that pressure could get a little overwhelming. You're seeing nothing locked in first item-wise yet for both teams, but Indonesia getting themselves already 2K ahead against Myanmar with all those exchanges is where they usually start their games. It starts a little bit slower, they get the advantage going, and then it snowballs out of control. We saw this the last time, like I said, continuously with this lineup, these 3 heroes, the Keyboy on that Guinevere, you have Albert on the Nolan, and of course the CW on the Harith. There's a ton of damage potential that can happen here early on. And for Myanmar, they have tanky enough heroes. But, that's kind of what they're hoping for, that we're just tanky and durable enough to deal with the burst damage that can come through. I mean, even look at this, Ken.
Spatial migration again with the Violent Requiem straight into the Fracture, and Zide will be able to get the Implosion down. Sans, an Implosion as well, not connecting to anyone, but Zide will still be melted down slowly but surely for Albert to pick up a killing spree in the first 3 minutes of the game. Deja vu to game 1 yesterday, or game 2.
Yeah, You see what I'm saying though? Like Myanmar, they drafted this because they're like, I hope we're tanky enough to go and deal with this burst, but it's just showing that they're not. And a lot of that has to do with the way Indonesia is cycling through their CC. And that's whether, and we talked about this extensively in the draft, that Keyboy was probably going to pick up the Guinevere, and I'm surprised that it actually wasn't banned out for the last ban from Myanmar, because it works wonders with this lineup. So now that this turtle's up here, Myanmar, despite them being down already, 4,000 gold, they do still want to fight for this objective. And as long as they at least, watch out for Keyboy setting up just like that, that's good. They don't get set up, so at least, they avoid it for now, but still they have to win this battle. Echo going to be dropped down too. They get the vision, but still both teams are ready to go for it. It's going to be a full-on fight.
The penalty zone onto Ken now with the implosion as well, locking him down. Loopy dealing a lot of damage. Ken will be taken out with just with the hammer swings as CW jumps with the synchro vision and Albert gets rid of the frontliners. Juno completely zoned away. They're being overwhelmed by damage. Another spatial migration into the Violet Requiem. Keyboy finding an angle to attack again, and Justin doesn't have mana to play with. Oh no, Astral Recall means that Albert can just walk up Fracture, and now the Lethal Ignition ticking down slowly but surely. Albert fadeaway kill under the tier 2 as he now goes for the steal. I don't think he'll be able to do so. Ken has the retribution, but man, Albert's already 3 levels ahead.
Oh, awesome. We're going to take a look at this replay here on how this kind of unfolded. And like I was saying, Myanmar, I'm surprised they really do want to go and fight for this because, wow, that's all in reverse, by the way. So it's all in reverse, I think. But,
dynamics, bro.
The dynamics. But, as we saw that unfold, it was Myanmar just choosing to fight for that. And honestly, it didn't work out for them the way they wanted it to. And Albert also, with that whole exchange, now picks up the Sky Piercer. And look at Keyboy. Like, this is just how confident Keyboy is with this Guinevere. Given the information, he's the walking ward.
Facial migration only onto the orange buff. Albert decides to just take it away from Ken. Being 4 levels ahead, it does, look quite easy to go for these steals. But, man, the fact that he was... What is up with Albert on the Assassins? It just... Do you remember last game, he played the Baksha. It looked like, okay, he's good. But on the Assassins, it's a different level entirely. Ruby DD. Kudo, I don't think you can really even go for this. Loopy gonna be able to outdamage Ruby DD. And that's right, Keyboy! Again with the Violet Requiem, locking Justin up as Loopy goes in for the hammer swing, and Keyboy gets out. Albert with the Fracture now. CW goes over the spot for Sans again with the implosion steal to corral them together for that collapse. 11-0, and now it's gonna be Ruby DD who gets slain by CW.
My goodness, just like yesterday. The same thing is happening with this lineup that just has a few changes, but what the heck? Indonesia just pulling forward again. Myanmar, you guys have to understand, Myanmar was basically undefeated in the group stage. They just dominated time and time again, and now Indonesia, even though they lost in the group stage, at this point it looks like they are playing perfectly with this lineup, with this composition of heroes even. And Albert, yet to be killed, yet to be stopped, picks up a Malefic Roar. I don't even know what Myanmar can do at this point. They have to somehow, some way allow Juno to get online, and this is exactly why I say, man, I don't like Roger in the gold lane. I'd rather have him in the jungle because it's just so difficult for him to farm up at this point to get the space that he needs to work with. And I mean, you're looking at the disparity in terms of the gold. He's also just very far behind CW right now. He hasn't died, which is great, but look at all the setup potential you have with these heroes, and you have no follow-up. If he enters, if Juno tries to go in, even Lycan pounce in, he's probably going to get blown up before he gets a chance to get a hit off. That's the troubling part about having this Roger in the gold lane. And so now you're forced, hold on.
More going to be locked down, by the way, the Dragon as well, and Keyboy will be locked down by everything in the kitchen sink to get Myanmar their first kill in the game. CW going for the chase though. Tosses him on force, will not be able to fully go for that kill onto Juno, who still has the Purify, but Indonesia wanna utilize this resource advantage now. As Ruby DD walks up again with the Shunpu, it's gonna be Albert walking up, dealing some damage back onto Ken, forcing him to half HP as Sans deals with them in the back as well, isolating and zoning them away from this tier 2 in the mid lane.
Oh, Sans also picks up the implosion, so we might have to keep an eye on a possible play. Doesn't have a flicker, it went with the Purify instead, but can still possibly use that in quite a surprising way. You'll have to see it unfold. Taking a look at the items real quick too, you can see them coming into place already. CW has those 3 items working on the next here. Could be a Holy Crystal next, or just going into even some more penetration, because right now there's just too much damage overloading Myanmar. When they get a pick off with Ruby DD, it's great, but he has to do so much work to get it through. So as they try to defend this tier 2 turret, look at this. Albert's just going to go ahead and start up the Lord. He doesn't need the rest of the team to come here. They can just keep this, Myanmar at bay from even entering their jungle. Ruby DD, like, just trying to make something happen will just get poked down, and that's just Sans. Sans is 0, 10. It's nearly impossible to get the kill on this Valentina. So with that, Myanmar is going to find themselves once again on the defensive, trying to hold on the best they can. For Indonesia, with the tools they have and the fact that Sans has an implosion, they could possibly force this situation in here. And shields are going to be popped already before that Lord even gets there. Holy Crystal just picked up by CW, so the damage is now even further ahead for Indonesia in terms of potential. Myanmar on the defense.
A lot of battle spells already back up. Super. Oh, it's going to be just almost decimated there by the fracture penalty zone on the 3LP. Again with the engage, and now he's going to put Zaman Force onto the back, doing all the damage. Ruby DD will lose his life, and Side as well just gets melted down, completely obliterated under the base turret as Indonesia continue the siege. Now into the top lane. That's going to be base turret number 2 taken down as Lippy zones them again with some damage on that hammer, swinging it by Ken. Going to take a little bit of that. Sans again also goes for a splash. Albert looking for the play. Keyboy again with the spatial migration into the winter crown as he pops into Battle Requiem, and look at Justin, who can't even defend. Juno forced back all the way to the fountain, and Ruby DD spawns back in. But Indonesia, 16-1, have just dominated Myanmar in a clean sweep.
Oh